Hello, everybody. I am so excited. We're here for another episode of Plug Into Devin with Nate Blouin. He is the policy manager at Interwest Energy Alliance. So they're talking about clean energy there. And he is also a candidate for the DNC committee man. So this is an interesting discussion. Stick around. You don't want to miss it. Nate, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Devin. Glad to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to have you. What do you want to talk about?
I would love to have a quick discussion about regional markets and electricity, renewable energy, and how we can send power from places that are producing it to places that need it.
I think that is brilliant. How does that impact the adoption of clean energy?
Sure. So right now we have we have solar power that's really fired up during the day, but the energy usage doesn't really peak until later on in the evening. So when you have a place like California that produces all this power and then uses it later on, we've got to find a way to both figure out how to use their power, the power they're producing, and send it elsewhere, but also fill their needs later on in the day with things like Wyoming wind. And, Wyoming doesn't use a lot of power. There's only 500,000 people in that state, but if we can get that strong wind power to California or to Seattle, other hubs, and we can really save a lot of money, and it becomes very economically viable.
Are we ever letting the wind blow and not using the energy that the wind would generate? Are we turning off our turbines?
Yeah, so that's what they call curtailment. So when you're producing power, or say the wind energy is not the cheapest source, there's these huge market systems set up, and they determine where power is cheap, and if wind is curtailed, basically they'll shut the plants down and they'll pull it from somewhere else, and maybe it's that the wind's not blowing, but it might just be that they're producing so much power. There's actually what's called negative pricing, which basically means that someone's got to, they're giving that power away to someone else if there's not a good way to use it. So that's where batteries and that sort of big battery storage comes into play. And that's a whole nother fun discussion.
Yeah, that will be. So what are the barriers to a good regional marketplace right now?
Yeah, that's, I think it's just a lack of coordination. It's a really complex topic where you've got, it's got to come down from either a federal or a state executive level. The governors have to figure out how to bring all these players together. You're talking about layers and layers of bureaucracy and transmission lines that are key to sending power from, Wyoming to California, 800 miles away. It takes a lot of coordination to figure out permitting and big price tags and all that sort of stuff. So it's just this coordination level, and I think there's a lot of good work being done to try to bring a lot of these parties together and see how we can fit this stuff together. And it's going to take a while, but it's a good, exciting discussion to be a part of.
Well, it seems like if we're in a situation where we are sometimes curtailing wind, there would be an opportunity for us to save money for consumers if we had this regional market. Is that what you think?
Yeah, so there's actually been, there are kind of sub-regional markets like the California, CAISO, it's like their independent operator. They operate a type of market. It's not a full regional market, but it's offered throughout it. Other states can participate in it. And it is saved to date. I mean, I think it's in the last 5 years or so, it's getting close to $1 billion just in basically efficiencies. I mean, you're just able to sell power from where it's cheap to whoever wants to use it. And so there's lots more opportunity with even bigger scale there.
It also seems like one of the big challenges of the future will be producing and distributing much more energy. As energy costs come down, and more things have electric motors in them, like airplanes and cars and air taxis, we're going to need a lot of electricity.
Yes.
So does this regional market come into play in terms of developing better, more efficient ways of delivering more power?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now we have congested transmission lines throughout the West. I'm not an expert on that, but they can't carry all the energy that people would like to be producing. or all the power. It's an interesting distinction between power and energy that, still manages to confuse me. But, there is an energy efficiency argument too, where there are lots of awesome groups working specifically to reduce power usage, which is great. We need that. But there's certainly going to be a greater need for electrification of vehicles and all that if we want to really get to like a net zero, pre-2010, 2000, whatever the IPCC is saying we need to do. To get there, we're going to have to really work on electrifying transit and building homes that are more energy efficient. I think homes are supposed to take over emissions from cars as like the most polluting source pretty soon here. So there's lots of opportunities there.
But a lot of those emissions come from natural gas that we're delivering to homes to heat, which is pretty inexpensive, but it's still producing a lot of carbon dioxide as we burn off that methane, right? So we've got to figure out how to electrify all those homes. Huge demand for more electricity, not necessarily more energy, but certainly more electricity.
Right.
And your view is that the regional markets will help deploy that more efficiently. Is that right?
Yeah, they're going to be able to, if you have these big super highways of transmission lines that can really pull, you have these huge hubs of, and this is where you get into arguments over land development and all those other things. But if you've got big energy producing hubs, you've got to be able to send that somewhere. And so if we can build out, you can build a much more compact project, or whether it's wind or solar, in a place like Wyoming or Arizona that really taps into those resources. So if you can build a more compact footprint there, send it somewhere that really needs the power on these big transmission lines, then there's that's the sort of thing that's going to be able to kind of keep energy affordable. And also, I would like to see personally, I think, even though I work in the industry, it's definitely, I think lower power usage is something to strive for. But we got to keep figuring out how to electrify vehicles.
The transition to a clean future is all electric. And that is going to mean a lot more demand on all of those resources. So I think it's a great point that we need to be really thoughtful and strategic about that. Well, Nate, thank you so much for joining us. Before you go, take 1 minute and tell us what is your superpower?
Oh, my superpower. Well, that's a good one. I'm a big runner. I think I initially came onto the show as the chair of the outdoor caucus, which is something else I do, and so trying to protect public space, public lands and open spaces is another passion of mine. And so, I'm a big runner though. And I think that's probably, if I had to pick a superpower, running fast and running far might be it. So that is an impressive superpower. Yeah.
I run not very far and very slowly. So not a superpower of mine. I'm jealous. So Nate, tell people how they can learn more about the Interwest Energy Alliance before.
Sure. Yeah, you can either just check out interwest.org. We're a trade association, so there's not a really great public-facing element to our organization, but we do work with organizations like the Sierra Club and NRDC, so they're also great organizations.
Excellent. Well, Nate, again, thank you very much for being with us. We wish you every success in helping to bring about a clean energy future that is affordable for everyone.
Sure. Glad to have that discussion. It's been fun.
All righty. Now let's do some good.
All right. Thanks, Devin.
I'm Devin Thorpe. For the last 8 years, I've been working full-time to eradicate extreme poverty, improve global health, and fight climate change. I've concluded that the best way for me to continue my work is to run for Congress to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District. In Utah, we have common shared values. Those things unite us. I believe passionately in our ability to come together, and I believe that working together we can solve Utah's problems. I'm Devin Thorpe. I'm a Democrat. I'm running to represent the people of Utah's 3rd District.
I'm Devin Thorpe, a candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.